King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Broadcasters Podcast. Here is the King of Podcasts. The King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents the Broadcasters Podcast. Here is the King of Podcasts.
And here we go, another Broadcasters Podcast. We're not doing radio tonight. We might talk a little bit about Odyssey, the radio network, and their bankruptcy issues, but we're going to talk about the comedy issue that's going on right now because a few different comedy stories have come up to the light, and we're going to go ahead and focus on those tonight. Notably, Jo Koy, the Filipino comedian that didn't turn out too well at the Golden Globe Awards last weekend, and Katt Williams, who started off the year with an interview on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast and did not really stirred up some feathers. And then today, as I start recording, George Carlin, somebody decided it was a good idea to go ahead and create an AI version of him doing a full stand-up act, a special. This is where comedy is right now. When I think about what I went through for comedy last year, right? And I was going back and looking, okay, I remember I gave myself an effort to see what movies I was going to watch overall. Movies that had comedy in it, right? So among those, I would say Barbie was pretty much kind of set to be like a bit of a comedy, right? Then after that, let's just keep going down the hill of what other movies were out that would have been considered just straight up comedies. I can go past the top 5, top 10, top 20. Whew, well, we're going far down here. We're going past the top 30. Like there might be some movies that will have some, humorous moments in it, but not necessarily the whole movie, right? It's not meant to be a full-fledged comedy movie. No. And I'm looking down now. Okay, going past let's say 39, Cocaine Bear, that might be the first one. And what else after that? Shazam! Fury of the Gods? No. No, it kind of would have worked that way, but it did not. No Hard Feelings, number 48. That's how far back. And by the way, that by far was the funniest movie last year. Really enjoyed it. No Hard Feelings. That was the funniest movie I saw last year. And you know what? It did pretty well. I mean, it did not get everything back on its... Well, the budget was $45 million. It made 83. So, might just be cutting short of... Well, no, actually, if it's going through DVDs and all, it might have made it past the mark to break even. But that's the best performing movie that I saw of comedies. And if I go farther than that, I got to keep going down. I did not see 80 for Brady. I'm still looking here. I'm now into the 70s right now. Holdovers, well, I guess somewhat of a comedy, but it really wasn't. It was more of a dramedy if it was anything. What else? I'm going far down here. I'm telling you, I'm looking now. I'm in the 80s. Okay, here we go. Joyride, number 90. And I saw that. It wasn't funny. It was just like, okay, it was there. What else? I'm trying to look here. Oh, there's not many that made the 100. Okay, the top 100. The Machine at 99. And House Party, the remake, at 100. That's it. And as for those, The Machine last year, off a budget of $20 million, it made 10. It bombed big time. And then House Party, who thought this was a good idea to recreate this? The budget, they don't say what the budget was. Actually, I'd love to see what the budget would be on this. And let's see if we can find that out real quick before I get into that and start really bringing it down. The budget was $7.5 million. 7.5 and it made $9 million. Pathetic. It was also one of the first movies of the year because it was released a year ago today. And no, it did badly. Really poorly set. And you want to talk about like, oh, the cast wasn't that good or no. It just wasn't funny. It wasn't. And people didn't watch it. People did not watch these movies. If I want to go into the top 200, we got to go farther back. I mean, this is bad. I'm just still looking here of what other movies I had that were funny that I saw last year. And I keep looking. There's just not much. No, not at all. I mean, I keep looking here. I don't. Oh, Mafia Mama. Oh, that was a horrible one. Wow, that was a bad movie. I'm glad I didn't watch that. Now, I don't see the domestic budget on that. That's another good one. Let's see how much that money, that actually was made with quite a bit of money. I'd hate to see what that was. Oh, this is not good. $41 million budget. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it made $7 million worldwide. Ooh. Okay, so mainstream media. Okay, so your movies, TV shows, comedies and all, they should get out of the comedy business. Because nobody's making good comedies anymore. And nothing that's mass appeal and nothing that people are feeling happy about. This is where cancel culture has done the most damage. So now look at what we are resorted to. We're resorted now to some of the more famous comedians. They're just calling out others or just commenting. They're not even like really just, making people laugh. They're moving along and they're using their platform to talk more about other things. And by the way, listen, like Dave Chappelle or Katt Williams, they're funny comedians. They're funny. But I don't know. And Jo Koy, right? Jo Koy tried to do the Filipino version of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And, and for whatever reason, people thought he was a good idea. Listen, that guy used to be like on the VH1, like, I love the 80s type stuff. That's how far back he goes. Like, come on. Who was thinking that this guy was like a good idea to give him the platform to move forward and do something? Because really, what is there that's like straight up, like actual comedy stand up at all? And those that might get a little bit of reverence and they might notice and looked at, you know what? There are other people out there that don't want anybody else to be funny. They don't want anyone to be funny. So comedy and comedians are just becoming something else. I mean, think about it. How many good comedies do we have right now on television? There's no long-lasting comedies right now on TV that really stand out. Okay? There isn't. People still go heralding over Seinfeld, Friends, Big Bang Theory, Two and a Half Men, things like that. That's pretty much it. But everything else, no, nothing. And then you just have to ask yourself, like, well, how well was it done? So people started making excuses about Jo Koy's monologue at the Golden Globes. Plus, the same thing goes for like the effort that we're trying to do to get him out here. Like, really, so much more to it. So we'll get into that. There's so much to go and bring up about it. So let's start off with Jo Koy. And first off, Vulture was the first one to go after him. They said he couldn't stay the course. So a review from a comedy critic at Vulture who decides to go and talk about this. Do I want to go and play any of this at all? Do I want to? Oh boy. I guess I could, but maybe I'll go find something. Hold on. I'll find something on X real quick. We'll bring it up. I'll go and play what he actually did and what happened. Because honestly, there was a few moments that were really cringe and did not work well for him. We know that. So there was a bit of that. And criticism among his peers, by the way, doesn't help either. So first off, there was a couple of things that came out. See, it wasn't even the jokes that went over. It was what happened to the reactions after that. So one of the jokes he gave was about Taylor Swift, saying that the big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, at the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift. Yeah, I don't think that crowd's really going to understand that too much. Might not be paying too much attention to it, especially the crowd of Hollywood over there. That's probably so out of touch. And Taylor Swift did not get a good look when you saw her up there, so that didn't help either. And then Jo Koy then, he tried to defend the joke. He says that, I didn't understand the Taylor Swift tiff. Mind you, that was just getting rewritten 50 million times. What hurts the most of me is just supporting Taylor. I support her. I love her work. I got nieces that I bought tickets for. There's no ill intent in that joke. The joke is about the NFL. It didn't sound like that to me. Did not sound like that to me. So here's some of the jokes that were going on, the viral reactions of the 2024 Golden Globes. Let's go and play a little bit of that real quick. And you'll see what's going on with this, because he got blasted for most of the week. Most of the week, there was not good to be said.
Big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL. On the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift. I swear. There's just more to go to here. It's based on a 721-page Pulitzer Prize-winning book about the Manhattan Project.
He's talking about Oppenheimer.
And Barbie is on a plastic doll with big boobies. I watched Barbie. It was kind of weird being attracted to a plastic doll. It's just something about your eyes, Ryan.
And the problem is that you also see the reaction of some of the people on stage that are in the audience. First off, the first part about big boobies and Greta Gerwig is showing, and she's not happy about it. Then Ryan Gosling being shown when he brings that other joke, not happy about it.
The whole show, just close your eyes, Ryan. Margot, it's not always about you.
And then thinking he can go ahead and diss the stars, after going with that, thinking he can go ahead and go, kind of like a little bit of the mini put down, didn't work for him either. Didn't help for him either as well.
It goes from perfect beauty to bad breath, cellulite, and flat feet. Or what casting directors call character actor.
And no one is laughing. It's not even one where, when you see this, it's like people are just trying to go off with it. And then people, listen, and of course, he was getting picked apart. The sexism was one thing that didn't help him at all when he did that. And the reactions they got of some of the people that were watching this, they were not good. People were just not really feeling this at all. And he can try to do what he wants, try to get that working up and try to get people going into it, but you know what? It did not work out.
Answer the lifelong question that's been on my mind for years. Yes, scientists do get laid. As long as they look like Cillian Murphy.
And that was Cillian Murphy with the Oppenheimer joke.
Competing for cinematic box office achievement. Oppenheimer is based on a 721-page Pulitzer Prize-winning book about the Manhattan Project. And Barbie is on a plastic doll with big boobies. I watched Barbie. I loved it. I really did love it. I don't want you guys to think that I'm a creep, but it was kind of weird being attracted to a plastic.
And also trying to go ahead and be complimentary, the intent of the old days of comedy is put down. Your best comedians of old were put down artists. All of them. If you look at, and listen, I know, yeah, we're going to talk about the 60s, 70s. This is not the Kraft Music Hall. This is not, the roast, the Friars roast. I get it. We're not getting into those. But even like Greg Giraldo and Lisa Lampanelli and, Gregory Ross, right? All those, Jeffrey Ross, excuse me. Those are the put down artists. That was your customary of the kind of comedians that you had. Same thing with Dave Chappelle. Same thing with the Joe Rogan. Same thing with with the Katt Williams. And also being able to go ahead and go after. But he's trying to play it nice to the crowd. And the problem is he's not doing it well when he goes out towards the celebrities, trying to get them over. Meanwhile, trying to go ahead and, resonate with the audience at home. It wasn't working. Not at all.
This guy's amazing, decade after decade. He just kills it every single time. I don't know how you do it, man. I swear to God. Your last performance is got to be your greatest performance ever. How'd you get her pregnant at 80?
Oh, Bob De Niro getting his wife pregnant. There you go.
CGI.
That wasn't that bad.
Is he looking? You talking to me? By the way, Killers of the Flower Moon is so great. Killers of the Flower Moon, the cast is here. Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone. You guys crushed it. Crushed it.
When I hear that, okay, if I ever want to hear anything going on with, if I ever want to hear anybody go ahead and go and do it the best way of doing comedy in front of celebrities, and the last time I ever saw it done right was Ricky Gervais. Okay? That's the last one that ever did it. And listen, people have heard it. I'm going to play it anyway. I'm going to play a little bit anyway. Going back to that because it was so damn good. He just gets it. And his time and the way he did it was just so much better. So let's go and play a little bit back of when he used to do that. When we actually had Golden Globe presenters that could do it. And this was not that long ago.
You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. 5th time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood Foreign Press can barely speak English, and they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax. So let's go out with a bang. Let's have a laugh at your expense, shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So, yeah, remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no.
Wow.
Shush. It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons, yeah? Look, at this table alone, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. But
this is from 2020, by the way. Before pandemic.
Baby Yoda. Oh, that's Joe Pesci, sorry. I love you, man. Don't have me whacked. But tonight isn't just about the people in front of the camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do.
So, difference. Okay. Yeah, it's one little example right there just to show the difference. We don't have that now. And it's missing. So, let's go into the stories that we're actually talking about. Okay, so Jo Koy says, dissing his Golden Globes writers on stage was a rookie move. And there was a lot that was being said about that. Let's go into the actual story about what was going on here and what he did wrong. So, first of all, back to that Vulture story. They first of all said that, he started realizing that he was ill-prepared. And he says, about when he got this gig, he says, I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect monologue? Shut up. I wrote some of these, and they're the ones you're laughing at. He was bombing in the room, trying to win back the audience by acknowledging it was a common comedian tactic, except not until he broke from his script and started blaming his writers did the bomb begin to feel so palpable on TV. And Vulture makes the point. Ricky Gervais's jokes failed in the room to varying extents each of the 5 times he hosted, but he was aware this would happen. So he adopted the persona of an antagonist and then continuously responding to tepid audience reactions with assurances of, I don't care. And he assured his jokes were better received by TV viewers. Right. That's why he kept coming back. You're doing it live. That is really going to do that. You can't really help much about that. That's really going to be the part. Another thing you got to ask about is why is Jo Koy the guy that was being picked? So Jo Koy, why was he picked in the first place? He's not a crossover star. The audience inside the Beverly Hilton didn't extend him instant goodwill the way they would a more established celebrity. They were saying like an Andy Samberg. Yeah, makes sense. As a stand-up, he's known for projecting ambivalence towards his audience as Gervais does, but he rose to popularity talking about his Filipino heritage. And, he was trying to connect and be relatable. And then blaming his writers was him entering panic mode, and they went into full flop sweat open mic mode after. Lost his timing, began repeating punchlines, and, he backed away from jokes instead of confidently standing behind them. Right. And these are the parts that, was really lost his part. He really did not help himself. And it looks bad because everybody saw it. Enough people, and it wasn't even so much people that watched on TV because, it's not like the Golden Globes got the great ratings. Like, what did the ratings come up for that show anyway? Did it even get good ratings at all or no? I doubt it did. Let's look what the ratings did come out to be. 9.4 million viewers, so it's up by 50%. There you go. So almost 10 million viewers, that's all they got. And now the story from the Wrap gave more information. That he didn't have enough time, writers, or celebrity for Golden Globes monologue. And first of all, we hear from Laurie Kilmartin, a comedian, hosts a podcast about the craft of comedy and wrote on Conan. And one of the prominent insider voices rising to Koy's defense. So she tried to go and explain why Jo Koy didn't do so well. So she wrote on X that they're famous, nervous, and humorless, and 10 days is generally not enough time to write about 500 jokes, but it's about how many you need to find 15 suitable jokes. She's right, if not lowballing a little, according to comedian Eliza Skinner. It's a wildly specific crowd, huge celebrities that are braced to be roasted on camera. You can see it on their faces. They're like, oh, fuck, what now? And Howard Stern talked on the show Monday that, quote, these people in that audience do not want to be made fun of. They're very concerned about their image and their publicists. If you're going to shelling out 25, 30% of your income on publicists and agents, you don't want to be goofed on television. So Skinner also goes on to say that the job isn't to tell funny jokes. It's find a way to crack that very tough room and get them to laugh with you. And it takes the crowd getting to trust you. But I think nowadays, a lot of comics miss that. Because the comedians are being left with little of what they were able to go and do in the past. Very little. And some people just did it better. Okay, I got to play one other thing. If I could find this real quick. One of my favorite clips of all this where I go and look back at, what people were able to do and, roasting celebrities was an art. Like I said, Ricky Gervais, one of the last ones to ever go to the award show and actually do it. But if I got to use one that's not a whole lot of time ago, would be Don Rickles, and when it was a tribute to Martin Scorsese. Because that was seriously, like, he was going after everybody, especially Julia Roberts, which was funny. Like, it was just a natural funny. So let's go with this. Okay, the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award, 1997, and Don Rickles is in the crowd, and he is just full-fledged. And listen, he's up there in his age, but I'm telling you, this guy nailed it out of the park. Talk about how to reach celebrities and how to go ahead and roast them. This is how it's done.
Marty, I would address... Somebody get a phone book so you can see me. $40 million jobs in show business. I got a midget to direct me. I have regards for you, Marty, from Tony Bonini and Frankie Gazzano. And they told me to tell you you'll be dead in the morning. Marty, you are the most annoying director I ever had in my entire career. Little guy, he's the kind of guy in prison, was the squealer all the time. Pulling on your pants like going, let's do it again. I said, Marty, it's 85 times. De Niro don't have it anymore. He's busy mumbling. Marty, when we see all the films you did, none of them were great. None of them. I look around the room and I realize now Aside from Clint Eastwood, I'm the biggest name here. Clint Eastwood is now thrilled. His name was mentioned. And Marty, you'll have a great future ahead of you. Maybe instead of Jesus Christ, you'll do a story about a rabbi. A rabbi schlepping a piece of wood someplace. Be a great story. Anyway, De Niro is sitting there. God bless you, Bob. He's got the beard on. To know him is a treat. He's one of the great actors of our time. You ask him. You ask him.
See, that's good stuff. Know your audience. Do you understand it? Know your audience. That's just the way it is. You got to know, man. And then you just go after people and just like, and you know what? I look back and I see how many people had to go ahead and just go back and just make the comments of what was put out there, what he did. And he was just out there in the audience. He didn't have any script, nothing. He was just out there right off the cuff and just a natural at doing this. A natural at doing this. So let me get more of this particular occasion, another great clip. Listen, I'm playing this because I just need to make my point about comedy. How can I go ahead and talk down about comedy without trying to show examples of what good comedy is?
I'd like to say, first of all, the fish was lousy. Shirley, oh, that's right, they're honoring you. Shirley, I say from my heart, I never read your book and I don't plan to.
Oh, the Shirley MacLaine AFI Award. Here we go.
We go back a long time in the Sahara Hotel. You were always a great star then, and you reminded us every night what a great star you were. Your brother, who's sitting in the back, wanted this evening to be all about him again. I know your brother very well, and I never liked him.
Everybody's laughing. Everybody's laughing.
But I kid all of you, because I'll never see you people again. I don't need you people. I'm 86 years old, and I'm spitting up, and I know I got a couple hours to go. So I'm not going to kiss your ass. I'm not going to do anything. Shirley has to, because she still thinks she's got years. It's been a great night. It really has. It's been about 18 hours of crap. Telling you how wonderful you are, and you know damn well, Shirley, it's over. It's over. You'll go back to where the hell you're living in Arizona and suck on a plant for a half hour. Jack Nicholson's in the back going, son of a bitch, you didn't mention my name. No, he's not here tonight. He's with the Lakers oiling their jocks. I'll tell you this. Oh, Julia Roberts, you live next to me at the beach. You know that. Thanks for all the visits. Anyway, I'm living about 2 blocks from you. The broad never shows up. Come by and say hello.
Closer than 2 blocks.
You have no lines, Julia. Just nod. Anyway,
Got her.
Shirley, on behalf of all these wonderful people, performers and otherwise, Barbara and I, my wife, of 47 years, we've known you so long. The day is in the Sahara, as I said. May God be good to you.
And he goes on and gives a nice end right there, but let me tell you, roasting. And people, see, and celebrities, if you do it right, it's a badge of honor because you're making them feel like, okay, they're so important. They're so popular that you can give them a rib and they're going to laugh at themselves because they're going to have a little bit of humor. Feel a little bit of humility. That's a good thing. But everybody, from Hollywood to the people that have to perform and the agents and the publicists, like right now, we're at such a point where they're stepping over themselves, being super critical and getting this thought process. They have to go ahead and make good and do good and hit quotas and have to go ahead and make everyone happy. When that wasn't even the point. There was a time when it didn't matter. Everybody could be offended. See, trying to go this completely reverse route doesn't work. Does everybody understand that? It was better off when everybody could be offended and no one was left out. But for whatever reason now, that's not allowed. And this overcorrection, which has been going on for, at least 30 years, Ever since politically correct became a term, that's where we are right now. Let's just put it like this. Politics ruins everything. There are only certain people that can actually talk about politics and do a good job at it. And by the way, some of those comedians never talked about it that much. When Bill Maher first started, before he did Politically Incorrect, I don't think he did a whole lot of political satire or talk about it much. I mean, his act was much different. It was funny, but he's also can inject politics into his act because he was around for 40 years doing for being a comedian, right? Stand up and constantly doing stand up. He knows what to do. He knows how to say it. No matter what, he's funny. Okay, that's why HBO keeps paying him for all these years, because he does a good job. It's one of the last few comedians we got, but how many more years do we have? Dave Chappelle could put out a special here and there, or, but then we see some of these other comedians that have tried to go and come up and stand the test of time. Oh, I forgot about my father. That's right. Sebastian Maniscalco. By the way, after that movie, do you even hear from him anymore? I felt like he's faded off the face of the earth. But there's also been a lot of comments and things bad about him. He's been undermined some controversy too. There's him. And then I said Bert Kreischer, but also he was caught up in a lot of crap. Bad movies. And you think about what Awkwafina got her deal with, where she had the movie with Joyride. Didn't work out well either. Amick. No one's talking about those movies or making the point that they're very funny or laughing about it. You can find some humor in movies, but not a whole movie where you want to go and sit down and laugh the whole damn time. Doesn't happen. And as for specials, well, when you had those days where you had HBO and Showtime, and you'd have various comedy shows going on a regular basis, different story. But there's just something about where, you could still do comedy, but it's not even like the level of comedy that there was where, you're not going to get the arena communities like you do much anymore. And some of them that were, they even put to a point where they become like something else. Think about some of the comedians we have now that have become grounded and have become, much different. Russell Brand was a comedian. Joe Rogan was a comedian, regular stand-up and all. And look what they're doing right now. They're not talking politics. Or they're just talking about things are just in a very different way now. And when I think about the fact that we don't have anybody out there anymore that really stands out. There are no communities right now that are getting, sitcoms or anything like that that's really going to be standing out. And, some of that has just kind of gone away. There was a time not that long ago, remember, it was the 2000s. We had, the Redneck Comedy Tour, right? And then we had the Kings of Comedy and the Queens of Comedy. Those days are gone. Honestly, it's about 20 years ago that all that comedy really just went away. And you see bits and pieces of it. And you can still see some people that are still around that have been around long enough to go ahead and still hold up today. But this is not happening anymore. For Jo Koy and his Golden Globes monologue, only 3 writers were credited at the end of the broadcast. One of them was the show's executive producers. Other comedy writers talked about that, it was a dick move for him to go ahead and insult the writers. And Daniel Koenig, who's a comedy writer, mentioned the fact that, okay, you approved all these jokes, asshole, which is true. And the thing is, if you waited 10 days to get somebody to go ahead and go on board and do that, well, you don't have any comedians or any people in entertainment or any MCs at all that are capable to go ahead and come in at a whim and come in and perform for a large audience. You don't have that anymore. Who do you get in that short notice that knows what to do and can handle that kind of crowd? They're not. And now Laurie Kilmartin goes along and says that, okay, producers, it is really impossible for any stand-up to say no to a gig. We risk our lives to do 2 unpaid spots at different clubs on the same night, so we will say yes to a show that we aren't right for, especially if it pays $50,000 or whatever. And when they talk about the fact that, okay, Howard Stern also makes the point that, those shows are fucking difficult to do. No one else in Hollywood wanted the gig. I'll talk to Jimmy Kimmel about this, and he does such a great job at the Academy Awards, he prepares for 6 months. Standing up there and telling those jokes to a bunch of people who don't want to be laughed at is the biggest bummer in the world. But that's a science that nobody knows how to do that anymore. And that's what goes on. Mike Lawrence comes on and writes up, and he says he bombed Jo Koy because he didn't establish who he was, thus giving an actual point of view to his jokes. He started in the middle and didn't make fun of himself first before making fun of the people there. But what do I know? I'm just a writer. Right. Again, pretty simple. It's fundamentals that were not at this show, that we're missing. So there's that part we got to deal with there as well. Jo Koy getting thrown under the bus. The next person that got also brought into the controversy would have to be Katt Williams. I know I waited a long time to get to the point, but Katt Williams was like last week and still get things where they're going right now. So let's go back to Vulture. Another story. Katt Williams scorches the earth and every community on it. So he goes in here and here we go. So January 3rd, he talked with Shannon Sharpe, who's a correspondent on ESPN's First Take. And at the beginning of the interview, Katt Williams makes the point that the reason I had to come is because you made a safe place for the truth to be told. I have watched all these lowbrow communities come here and disrespect you in your face and tell you straight up lies. And then he goes along and he starts talking about all of it. And there's so much that's being said about it. He makes one claim that says that Harvey Weinstein offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. He aired grievances with about half a dozen or so comedians, which includes Cedric the Entertainer, who allegedly stole one of his jokes. We've heard that for a long time. Michael Black's in a comedian who doesn't get booed enough. Goes deep on the production of Friday After Next and dismisses rumors about his personal life. And then everything started going out on Twitter, and a lot of memes started getting inspired, jokes, fact-checking, and people got in here. So Kevin Hart was one of the first people. He says, in 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has memory of a sold-out Kevin Hart show. Well, I've been saying for years Kevin Hart wasn't funny. I've been saying that for 10 years plus. There being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have you heard of a comedian that came to L.A. and his first year in L.A., he had his own sitcom on network TV, had his own film called Soul Plane he was leading? We've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plan is? And he says for a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk. Then he talks about Cedric the Entertainer. Sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here looking like a walrus. He can't even get his arms off his stomach. Sitting over here, why I'm not a movie star. He never wrote anything. Remember, when Cedric the Entertainer starts, he's supposed to be singing, dancing, and telling jokes. That's why he's called the Entertainer. We found he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? And then Kanye West he goes after and talks about the fact that, you're the one that put him in a position where you thought he was God and could call himself Jesus. You're the one that told the guy he could write musical lyrics, that he was a genius. You're the one. So what do you expect? The guy married a whore. I mean, married her because she was one. Not that he didn't know. He understood that he wanted that. He courted that. That it's what he wanted to base his family on. That's the whole point too. So Harvey Weinstein goes on about, and then he talks about Steve Harvey. You couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year, and not one of them is asked for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good and look like Mr. Potato Head. Now, then he talks about how Steve Harvey, was never homeless. That Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago. He was making $3,000 a show in cash, doing 5 shows a week. They just tell the stories. Thanks to my wife, I am where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that. You told us it was her. Then you went and married somebody else that you think like a man. What are you talking about? They think they can rewrite his history. And then Ricky Smiley, that Friday After Next and the Katt Williams role was supposed to go to Ricky Smiley. And then he says here, where you're the story is the Ricky Smiley that couldn't even do curse words because he had a Christian fan base. He was going to play the pimp. Why didn't you ask him why he has played a woman in more movies than he's played a man? You wouldn't let an athlete that's been on steroids talk about the fact that one of the greats, Ricky Smiley can't act because Ricky Smiley can't act. I'll admit he's pretty good on his morning show, on his radio show. He's not bad. And Smiley did respond and brought on his former manager to confirm that he auditioned for the role of Money Mike before Williams, clarified that he was glad Williams got the part because he made it funnier, and there was no way in the hell I could have executed that role like that. Chris Tucker, also under the bus. The Chris Tucker that we have now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. And then Diddy. Now, thank you for getting out your Diddy, Cat. I am happy about that. I came into this business saying I was going to expose. When I talk about Michael Jackson, when I talk about R. Kelly, they cancel me for these things Because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care about anything about the other side. Period. Period. All these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's all for them. It don't matter if you're Diddy or whoever you is, TD Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. Then he's talking about Wanda Sykes. You can't flip up on me because you're an inferior comedian. I'm going to destroy you, and I'm never going to call you out of your name. I'm never going to say anything disrespectful about people who look like you. It's a very thin line I got to call. But this lady is trying to embarrass me in front of a largely homosexual fan base. That's why she got canceled. Gay people don't take account that you would, as a derogatory, call me gay. Gay people don't feel like it's derogatory. So why are you trying to shame me with something in a community I don't belong in? There's no gay people saying I belong over there or have been over there. But I have no hatred of over there, and how dare you? And I'm not trying to offend black women with short hair. I'm not trying to offend heavyset women. I'm not trying to upset fellow comedians. I'm not trying to do any of that. And I'm qualified to be able to do none of that. And still eviscerate you because I'm smart enough to know that I need to say that you have gnarled fingers because I know your limited education means you don't know what the word means, so you possibly couldn't respond to it. You're not sure of the meaning. Then face on love. I only put on comedians that are funnier than me. And anybody that ever told you that differently was a fat face-on liar. There's nobody like me in the business. Face-on said that getting a Netflix special is easy. I have 12 specials. How many does he got? 0. Why is he allowed to have conversations about real stand-up people? We do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. And then he goes after Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on the show. Joe got 6 comedians that have never been funny he wanted to push out. And then Joe Rogan talks about Katt Williams. And he says, I love Katt. He's one of my favorite comics. I'd love to have him on. We talk about it all the time. If he's down, I'll make it happen. Then he goes after Ludacris. Oh boy. There was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing and it had to be one or the other of us. And decisions had to be made. So it was both of us. We were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing with no more with the points. And the next person said they were going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. And one of those happened to be Ludacris. The other person happened to be Katt Williams. And then Martin Lawrence was attacked. Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he told me, Katt, when I get back, I need you. You're my young partner. You're my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We're going to do it. We're going to do some buddy cop shit. I said, Martin, you got my motherfucking word, my N. Go do what you got to do. When you come back, I'm in your movie. Don't trip. I don't need to see the script or nothing. You know, we get in that office and this fool pulled out Big Bahama's House 2. I almost died. And I got to read this script in front of all these good white people where this N want me to get in a dress with him. Man, he was going after people. Whew. So now, there's so much more to be said about it. But again, everybody was going after him. Kevin Hart being called an interesting plant. Well, he goes on Entertainment Tonight to talk about it. So let's go and bring that up. Now, Forbes put out a pretty interesting story about the lessons that were being learned from Katt Williams and what he was trying to talk about when it came to the interview and what was really the takeaways. That one of the major beefs Williams had with the comedians he called out was that they didn't invest in a sufficient amount of time studying the craft. They weren't doing the hard work of developing jokes that would accomplish the primary goal of making the audience laugh. And that colleagues take a lot of shortcuts. And the shortcuts other comedians took, they go against contrasting the more detailed and diligent approach he takes. Williams says he writes new material for every tour he goes on rather than reusing material from previous years. He even claimed that he spent a significant amount of time studying his competition for movie roles and developed an analytical way to showcase that he was funnier than them. And that's one of those things that he did. And you know what? If you want to realize how funny this guy is, just one of my favorite clips of his is when he was on, Atlanta radio? And I forget which the Atlanta interview was on. But all I know is that he went and, after Wanda Smith, that's what it was. Oh, okay, so it was Wanda Sykes I thought he was talking about. No, it was Wanda Smith. That's the Atlanta radio host that we have to go and bring up with that, where he does that. And he really did go after her pretty good. And it was funny. I think, he was going after her pretty much, but I actually thought he meant Wanda Sykes. No, it was Wanda Smith. There we go. So that's what it was. I think it was Frank Ski, and I forget which station this is on, but yes, there's the part as well where he did that, and he just went after her, and it was hilarious. So let's take a little bit of the clip of what he was doing right there and how he went after her on the radio, which was really damn funny.
Because Frank Ski puts it down.
That's right. Get on out of here with your crazy ass.
Is he crazy?
And help me get to the salon. All right, it's the People Station Viewer 3. Your hair is kind of...
That joint was.
My hair is 19 inches long and I have no perm.
You don't?
Oops.
Oh, that's not a perm.
No, it is not. Nice lady.
That's natural.
Come run one of your gnarled fingers.
Come here.
While you on air.
Come on.
So they can hear you live.
Come on. Let me come over here.
No. That's not how that works.
Oh, okay. Well, then stay over there.
Don't worry. Ain't nobody putting their hands through yours.
That's right. They don't have to. I don't want them to. Get on out of here. You okay? You okay?
Only one of our hands moving while we talk.
Are you all right this morning? Are you okay?
Red Grant, Atlanta Comedy.
Tell Wanda to take off them headphones and that wig.
And make sure
that wig and that headphones come together.
And take off them old ass clothes you got on. How about that? Yeah, they're old.
Versace, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
She said,
Versace.
I want to apologize to the people at Versace Collection. This is your 2019 summer line that hasn't come out.
But you had to open it up and show us it was Versace. I wanted to.
No, I didn't have to open it up. These people are on radio. They can't see anything.
Yeah, but you opened it up so we could see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, happy
whatever store is for the Black Lane Bryant.
That's right. Very proud.
Okay, let's play some music real quick if we can. We going to a break real quick?
Very
all right,
proud.
cool. We go to a break.
Shout outs to Forever 21 Necklace Collection.
That's right. Shout out.
They don't remember me for wilding out, right? I'm not the right one to Jones on.
Get this inmate out of here.
If you can't get your blood pressure down, you can't call me down.
Whatever, little mama.
If your cholesterol is 600.
Whatever, little mama.
I'm little mama's baby daddy.
No, you little mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
and what are you, girl? You probably shouldn't talk about sizes.
No, that's okay.
You big on the radio.
That's right. And you're big
Turn
in
it
prison.
down.
And you're
yes,
big
ma'am.
in prison.
I've never been to prison.
You have
19 felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No.
Okay,
no.
Calm down. Calm down.
Only one of us has $12 worth of jewelry on. No.
No, $12.
No. That all is available. If you want to have Wanda's jewelry, please go to Citgo or Quick Trip at any point. If you buy 2 packs of Newport 100s, they will give you everything Wanda has on right now for $7.99, and it comes with a free car wash. Won't you come on down?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
The show starts at 9. Wanda gets to the stage at 9:17. Please come on down.
Go, Shay, please come get Miss Cat and do her hair.
She's almost out of breath. Be careful now. Even on the radio, you can hear the fact that exercise has crept into her vocabulary.
Hurry up, little mama. We're done.
You already used that one. Don't repeat your jokes, Fresh Comic.
All right, go ahead. We'll go to
Yeah. You know, that's pretty damn funny. But again, you have to just be unapologetic now. I mean, but you know you're going to get the flack for it. You're going to get a lot. But I mean, you have to be overpoweringly funny to withstand the kind of stuff that's going on now, to be able to survive. And there are some that's still getting, very much, attacked and all. There's Matt Rife that's been getting out there, and he's also been getting attacked as well. And the kind of things that are being talked about in terms of what people are saying. Talk about how male comedians are the blustering and defensive, and, the things that are being said now. So one writer, I look at here from a story called, from covertour.com, and a case study of Matt Rice's Netflix special Natural Selection. And Andy Eisen writes about this. And she's a stand-up comic in their own right. So now, saying that sitting in the audience being condescended to by a man about my lack of intelligence or my woke mob mentality because a dick joke didn't make me laugh, I always wanted to reply, oh, we get it, we just don't like it. Have I heard jokes that fall into the bingo category that made me laugh? Yes. And sometimes even against my better judgment. But more often than not, this material these boys are so fiercely defending is simply Bush-era comedy that went in and out of style with shows like South Park. If I have a bingo card for every one of your jokes, maybe your material is just painfully predictable. I'm not offended. I'm bored. Well, so there's that part. If I want comedy, I go to TikTok. That's pretty much it. For some people that might be able to do something a little bit more, yeah, I'll go do that. But there's not much more than that. Not really. Now, One of the stories that came up that's also not too happy for people right now is George Carlin and an AI comedy special that got dropped. Who thought this was a good idea? But okay. So somebody decided to put that out there. So there was a new special that was created through artificial intelligence that dropped this week. And the fact of the matter is that George Carlin's likeness was not licensed, and anybody can put out a comedy special by using AI. His daughter, Kelly Carlin, was unhappy about the result because George doesn't come across overtly aggressive with one of his jokes. And I got to go find that real quick. Hold on. Let me go ahead and find out if I can go ahead and see a clip of that, because I didn't get a chance to hear what that sounds like, but I think some of you will want to go and hear what it sounds like to hear George Carlin and AI, and if there was anything in the special that actually sounded any good. So let's find out if it was. I'm curious about it.
Why? Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
So here's a part of the clip.
But if you're in America, you're special. God made something just for you. Something no other country on the planet gets. It's totally random, not related to your diet, exercise, lifestyle, age, race, gender, sexuality, or genetic predisposition. Of course, I'm talking about mass shootings. Other countries are fine killing one person at a time with guns, but this is America, where we do things bigger and better and more often. There are so many mass shootings in America, it's replaced bad traffic as the #1 excuse for being late. Sorry, I missed the morning meeting. A maniac with an AR-15 shot up my son's preschool. He's fine, just grazed. But he did see 5 of his classmates get gunned down in cold blood, so I'm sure he'll be traumatized for the rest of his life in ways I can never fully understand. Anyway, what did we decide to do about the budget next quarter?
That's the taste of what the AI of George Carlin sounds like. Nah, not impressed. So a couple of quick stories before we're going to wrap things up. An interesting story that came out from last year. 152 million tracks. 152 million tracks on music streaming services last year had less than 1,000 plays. 45 million tracks had no plays at all. Now, Illuminate, who does a lot of work when I think about Billboard and some of the streaming service stats that they get, there was a new market report from Illuminate that talking about the fact that 158.6 million tracks each year received 1,000 or fewer plays on audio streaming services in 2023. 86.2% of the 184 million music tracks that Illuminate measured on audio streaming services at the close of last year. 2022, there were 38 million tracks that received 0 plays. So the figure rose by 20% year over year. That's pretty shocking. The Odyssey bankruptcy. We talked about that extensively last week. If you didn't go and catch the episode, please go and do that. About where radio is right now. Delusional, just not getting it, man. So now, Cumulus Media, actually there was the last one to get to the dance of bankruptcy, and they lowered the debt balance from $2.34 billion to $1.30 billion, divesting additional assets, bringing it down even further to $675.8 million as of September 30th, 2023. Right now, Odyssey's fund is trying to drop theirs from $1.9 billion to $350 million through restructuring. I'm trying to say that what Cumulus said they're going to do for Chapter 11 would be what Odyssey has to do. So right now, a supermajority of their debt holders are already agreeing to financial terms. So they will look at restructuring or seeking to reject contracts. Also, dealing with multiple tower site and office leases, broadcast rights to different sports franchises. Odyssey is already filing notes of restructure contracts with Nielsen and the New York Mets. And there's also going to be change when it comes to David Field, the CEO of Intercom/Odyssey. That will also be changed. That the SEC is saying that if David Field is not agreeing to a new employment agreement within 120 days of the Chapter 11, they may terminate his employment. The Field may terminate his employment by writing written notice within the 120th and 150th day. but it will continue this role for 150 days until a successor is appointed. But the company can also terminate his employment at any time, in which case executive shall assist with transition as reasonably requested. So getting rid of his status as the CEO of the company. That would be a big thing. That would be what they would be looking at. And other members of senior management are now agreeing to amended bonus and severance structures. So it'll be changes to the staff. That's pretty good. I like that part. But they're not going to get rid of all their debt. And how are they going to get the rest of their debt down? That's the question we don't know that they're going to get. And finally, one other story that's being talked about now, that YouTube is getting serious about podcasts, because podcasters can now upload to YouTube via RSS, and they can multiply audio-only content for listeners. So Google is phasing out Google Podcasts and now pushing creators to upload their content to YouTube and YouTube Music instead. And uploading podcasts now is currently a manual process, not optimized for podcasts. But now Google's going to add support for RSS feeds, making it easier for podcasters to upload older episodes to YouTube and YouTube Music. Wow, that's awesome. So that's another thing you're going to keep looking forward to with podcasting. That YouTube, you already know people listen to podcasts there. A lot do. Now they're going to get a chance to easily put their content up there and just make YouTube more of a brand for podcasting more than anything else. I like that part too. That's pretty promising. And that's the show for tonight. So I hope you like me going through my whole run through of comedy and the fact of where it is right now. It's just in a bad state. I mean, I really ranted and went all over the place, but 3 examples to show you where things are. Legends being reused, right? Their holograms are being done, basically. It's like that. Then you got comedians that don't have the chops to go and do it in front of a live audience, and were not prepared, and they tank. And someone that, can really do good in front of a stage, or whenever he does, off the cuff, decided to go and spill the tea on everybody. And he really did. And people really got caught up on that. It's interesting about that. But this is what comedians are doing right now. They don't get to be funny anymore. And as I made the point with the Matt Rife commentary from Couture, it used to be the comedy, you could offend people. People could be blue with their jokes. It's not allowed anymore. So where does comedy go from here? It's going to go into the underground on social media. You're not going to find it in the mainstream. It will go away more or less. Or it'll be this, sanitized version that we're getting right now. Because that's what we're getting at the moment. So even this year, we'll be lucky if there's any good comedies that pop up in the movies, but I'll give them a chance. I'll see if they come out any good. See what they come up with. I don't have any real feeling that they're going to do really well, but I'll give them a try anyway and see what happens. kingofpodcasts.com is the website. Of course, I'm on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, at King of Podcasts. Come back next week for another Broadcasters Podcast. And until then, please remember that content is king. And the control of your content is in your hands.